All right, everybody. Good afternoon. Uh, Back at it again with another video. Please like, share, subscribe to videos so I can get my numbers up. I think I'm 20 people away from hitting that 500 mark, so it's coming little by little. So what I want to talk about right now is, for some, it's gonna even for my wife, she'll probably like, fuck. She'll maybe think like, oh, maybe you shouldn't talk about that, but I'm gonna talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. If you're offended by things, then go somewhere else and be offended. Go somewhere else and be offended. I don't care. I speak what I speak my mind. And I speak the way speak about things that I want to speak about. And this is something that needs to be brought up. It needs to be talked about because one thing is being talked about, but the other thing is not being talked about. You know what I mean? And if you're going to talk about this, you have to talk about this. And I'll explain it in a minute. I watch a lot of YouTube channels, and I see within the last year and a half, 2 years, year and a half, see a lot of these channels where they talk about, uh, black and brown unity. Where they talk about, will the black and brown community come together? Uh, I guess to fight the system, or I don't know, maybe to fight the white man. I don't know what you know, fight the government. I mean, the fuck are you guys fighting for anyway? I don't understand. It's like, will they come together? What is it, for votes? You know, because both our communities are fucking stupid for voting for Democrats all these years and being used. Every year you're used, and then when they fucking people get elected, they don't give a shit about you. It happens every 4 years. Anytime a Democrat gets voted in, every single time, they don't do shit for you. Everybody thought Obama, the black community thought that Obama was going to come around and fucking save the black man, and he didn't do shit. And the blacks were like, "What the fuck?" Like, but I mean, then again, that's pretty stupid. For you expect him to be like, you know, oh, I'm gonna give you. We're gonna get reparations and give you your fucking 40 acres and a mule or whatever the fuck it is that they wanted. It was foolish for people to think that way, you know, that they were going to get all this extra shit, you know. Even to this day, you still hear blacks talk about reparations. And it's like, it is funny to me that, you hear it because do you think that this money is just money? It's just printed that that's all you do is print it? No, you need fucking gold for the money. You can't just keep printing the shit. It's already losing its fucking value as it is now. But you know, who pays for that? The taxpayers do. There's a lot of black taxpayers out there. So you pretty much pay yourself. You know what I mean? So all the taxpayers have to pay you reparations. It's not the government, not the white man that's giving you fucking reparations. It's the community, the people of this country giving you money. And look at the majority of the percentage of blacks in this country. The working blacks, are paying yourselves. It makes no sense. It's fucking stupid. It's dumb that you just think. For some reason, people think that money is just free. Like, oh yeah, we want reparations. You got to give it to us. So they thought that with Obama, I guess that because he's black, that he was going to just start giving away free shit. And he didn't do anything for the black community, and a lot of them didn't like that. Didn't that they thought they were going to get something out of it and got nothing out of it. But it happens every time a Democrat gets voted in, so it's nothing new. Um, but so I mean, when they say, will the black and brown community come together? I see these videos all the time. And it's weird because a lot of the times it comes from the guys from Northern California. But Northern California is different than Southern California. They associated themselves more with the black community than down here in Southern California. Southern California is more, we kind of stayed our own. They stayed their own. You know what I mean? A lot of fucking racial shit going on down here back in the days. That shit has eased up a lot now, but back in the days, it was a big deal. You know, I grew up during that time. Well, let me tell you. Let me just say the way I feel as far as, do I think that will ever happen? Never. Never. That will never happen. Um, our two communities will never come together like this. You might have small groups, small pockets here and there when something goes on. A couple hundred people or whatever. Or you see a rally where there's something happens with a food vendor. You'll see a couple blacks there that, yeah, we're here to support. They're out there holding up the Mexican flag with the other people and shit like that. But you don't see it like 200-300 Mexicans and Chicanos together with 200-300 blacks together, and they come together and they're doing a march together, and they're fucking at the city hall or at a street vendor site. You don't fucking see that. When shit happens with the street vendors, when the black kids, black youth, or even some of the black adults beat these fucking street vendors up, smack them around, take their shit, knock over their carts. When our community comes together, you might see a little bit, a couple, maybe some guys that are, from that neighborhood, black dudes from that neighborhood that are well known and well respected. They'll come down, they apologize, which is all good, whatever. But you don't see like I said, you don't see the whole black community from that neighborhood come together and say, hey, we don't fucking like that shit. We don't like what these kids did and blah, 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 and we're going to take care. You don't see that. So it's small little things where you'll see them come together, but not in a major way. You've never seen it like that. I can't never remember. Maybe there was a time where something like that happened. I don't remember anything like that. I remember during the Rodney King thing, the fucking blacks were beating up the Mexicans and shit in South Central, beating them up, breaking into their cars, robbing them, shit like that. And that was a black and Mexican community. So do I think that will ever happen? No. There's just too much. There's a lot of animosity between the two. Too much history between the two. Too much bad history between the two. They think that they're better than not all of them, but the blacks. A lot of the blacks, they think they're better than we are, and we think that we're better than they are. Are they right and are we right? I understand. I understand when they feel that way. You know what I mean? It's like with football. You think your team's better than mine, even if they lose, doesn't matter. My team's still better than your fucking team. You know what I mean? I feel like these are my people. I don't want to be like you. You know what I mean? And I know you don't want to be like me. You know what I mean? You think your people are a superior people. There's whites that think their people are the superior. You should feel a certain way about your own people. Me personally, there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, this is, we're all human beings. We're all the same, love, the same blood and all that shit." But the way I feel is like, if we were supposed to be the same, then why the fuck were we all different? That's the way I see it. There was a reason for us to all be different. There's nothing wrong with you being proud of who you are. Nowadays, They look at it that way though. If you're proud to be black and you're pro-black, then you're fucking racist. You're pro-white, especially if you're white. Especially I think they got the shitty end of the stick. You're just like a fucking Nazi. If you're proud to be, if you say you're proud to be white, you're a fucking Nazi. That's the way people look at it. If you're proud to be Mexican or Chicano or you have that tattooed on you, it's like, oh wow, he's a fucking racist. Anything else, Asians, Chinese, Japanese, whatever you are, and I don't see nothing wrong with it. I don't see nothing wrong with a white dude saying that if he has white pride on him. I don't see nothing wrong with it. You're white. The fuck, be proud of who you are. If you're proud to be black, then be proud of that. I don't think you're a racist because you're proud of who you are. But nowadays, if you say those kind of things, people have a problem with it, and they feel that everybody should be the same, and we're not the same. We're all different backgrounds, different religious beliefs, different heritages. Um, we all come from different places, so we're not meant to be the same. Um, if I feel that I want my kids to be with my people as far as marriage and having children, my business. There's nothing wrong with that. But other people say, hey, that's fucking being racist. No, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a black family that says they tell their kids, like, hey, man, stick to our people. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, people think that it's wrong. And there's nothing wrong with you being proud of who you are and wanting to build up your people and build up your community. We're not all the same. And there's people out there trying to make it that way. So we're all one big ass melting. We're all the same. There's no difference. There's people out there that would like that. There's people out there like, no, we're all just human beings. We're not the same. We come from different places. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I just don't feel that, that our two communities, there's just so much shit that's gone on between them that it would never, and they say never, it will never happen. There's people out there that want that to happen, but it'll never happen. And I look at it like this. How are you gonna how am I gonna help you fix your household or help you clean up your yard when my yard's fucked up? I ain't fixed mine. Or mine. Sorry, Albert. He hates when I say mines. I ain't fixed mine. I haven't fixed mine. How am I gonna help you fix yours? Um, we over here have our own problems that we, with my people, have to fix. We have an issue that we still have not fixed before we can even help you do anything, or before you have your own issues. The black community has their own issues that they need to fix. They have to fix that before they come over and try to fix our shit or come together. You can't fix this if this and this is fucked up. And I'll tell you like this, what I'm talking about. When I was growing up, I said, people would ask me like, what was I? I'm Mexican. So I grew up telling people that I was Mexican. My father was Mexican. My mom's Mexican. My grandparents. Um, until I recently found out from my father that my great grandmother on his side, my great grandmother was Mescalero Apache. My great grandfather on my mother's side is Yaqui Indian. But I always said, I'm Mexican, and I was proud of that. then I started, when I came home and I started working, I got a job and I started working. And I remember I was working out in Chino. I was, this is 95, so I was 21. I was working out there in Chino. I used to work with a lot of paisas. The dudes that worked in the warehouse, they're all paisas, all the forklift drivers. I was working for a spa company, and everybody that worked there was pretty much paisa. And so, you know, we all got along. Everything was fine. We all worked together. And then one day we were talking. We were on a break and we were talking, and I remember the guy's name. His name was Jose, and he's like, hey Mike, where were you born? I said I was born in Torrance. He's like, oh, okay. Well, you're. Oh, he's like, well, why don't you speak Spanish? I said, he goes, your parents speak Spanish? I said, my dad does. I said, my mom used to, but it's been years since she spoke Spanish. She used to speak Spanish because my great grandmother only spoke Spanish, and that's the only way she can communicate with my great grandmother. I said, but it's been years since she speaks English. English is her first language. I said, but my dad speaks Spanish, and so he's like, so where was your dad born? I said he was born in Torrance. Where's your mom born? She was born in Torrance. Where was your grandma born? One was born in Santa Paula, the other was born in Tulare. And your grandfather's New Mexico, and I think my other grandfather was born maybe in Venice. He's like, so you're not Mexican then? I say, yeah, I'm Mexican. He's like, no, you're not. I say, yeah, I'm Mexican. He's like, no, I'm a Mexican. We're Mexicans. You're not Mexican. You're a Pocho. Or you're American. You're a Chicano. But you're not Mexican. Why do you call yourself Mexican? I said, because I'm fucking Mexican. That's why. He says, I said, you realize that, that my family comes from here. Before this was the United States. This is where my family comes from. This part. Colorado, Arizona, California. We're from here. This is our land. This is where we come from. When this was Mexico. The northern part of Mexico, this is our land. This is where we come from. We've never left here. We've always been here. But he's like, still, you're not Mexican. And, it was pissing me off. Hey, quiet. No. Um, it was pissing me off. But I left it alone, whatever. And I started really thinking about it. And I said, you know what, this fucking guy's right. He's right. I'm not Mexican. I was born here. I'm American of Mexican descent. You know what I mean? I'm not a Mexican from Mexico. You know what I mean? So that's why I said, he's right when he says, you're a Chicano, you're not a Mexican. And I said, the guy, he's right. You know what I mean? Like, so I started to really embrace that. Hey, 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 get down. No. Hey, be quiet. Be quiet. No. You ain't gonna do nothing anyway. Um, so that's when I started to be quiet too. When I started to embrace the whole Chicano thing, and I became really proud of that. I became really proud of that. To be to kind of like find my identity. You know what I mean? Because he was right. He was absolutely right. I couldn't be mad at the guy for what he was saying because he's absolutely right. I wasn't born in Mexico. Mexicans are born in Mexico. I was not born there. There's a lot of people that are, from that are born here. Their parents are born in Mexico. They're born here, and they'll say they're paisa, they're Mexican. It's like, no, you're not. I don't care what you say. You can identify whatever you want. You know what I mean? It's a whole that whole identify as this, identify as that. That's all you're doing. You know what I mean? Your birth certificate says something different. Your social security number says something different. You know what I mean? So you can identify whatever you want. You know what I mean? Just like some men are identifying as themselves, identifying as women. You that say that you're paisa or you're Mexican when you were born here, you're identifying as Mexican, but you ain't got a fucking residency card from Mexico. You ain't got a birth certificate that says you're from Mexico. You are not Mexican. You're from here. You're a Chicano. You're not Mexican. Say whatever you want, and people will get mad about that. People will get mad about that. But you go ahead and ask a fucking Mexican, and they'll tell you the same thing. You're not Mexican. You're born here. It's in our blood, yes. So yeah, we are proud to have both. I'm proud to have both. The American flag and the Mexican flag. I'm proud of both because this is my heritage. This is where I was born. You know what I mean? Because no matter I'm born here on this side of the border or I'm born over there, it doesn't matter. Our ancestors are still the same. This was part of that country at one point. We have the same bloodlines. That doesn't change. You know what I mean? That's what we're proud of. That doesn't change. You know what I mean? Uh, so doesn't matter. I'm born here, born there. I'm this, you're this, but we have the same background. We have the same ancestors. We have the same blood. So those two flags, they mean something to us. You know what I mean? It's I guess it's nice that we have both. If you're born in Mexico, you only have this one, but we have both. So there's nothing wrong with being proud of that. We're just a subculture, I guess, whatever it would be called, of Mexicans. We're the same, but we're different. You know, um, so like I said, did he say what he said? Well, he was right. He was absolutely right what he said, and I ain't mad at that. And I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of where I come from. I'm proud of my heritage and all that other stuff. you know. But the thing that I'm talking about, the issue that we have, is that issue. Um, they see us as you. You are not like us. You are not us. We are Mexicans. You're not. You know. They have derogatory names for us. We have derogatory names for them. When I was a kid, when I was a kid, when I was younger, I grew up with nothing but Chicanos. Okay, the harbor area was not a Paisa community. It was Chicanos. So back then, San Gabriel Valley, Chicanos. Inland Empire, Chicanos. Some parts of OC, Chicanos. But they had the pockets like Santana, which was a lot of Paisas. San Fernando Valley, mainly Paisas. All that area. Sun Valley, Pacoima, San Fernando, mainly Paisas. East LA, mainly Paisas. West LA, West LA. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like Culver City, Venice, Chicanos. So you had these little pockets, these communities that were either a Chicano communities or Bison communities. But I grew up around Chicanos. Everybody in the heart. I mean, I would say back then, 80%, maybe, I don't know, 80% of the Latino community was Chicanos. The other would have been Paisas. Majority is Chicanos. And I remember being a kid, we used to pick on the Paisa kids. We didn't like them. they were, to us, they were below us. Um, my dad had his own business at one time. Had a plastering business, but he also worked for another company. At other times, he worked for other companies, plastering. All the workers were paisas, all of them. My grandfather had his own business, plastering. All his workers, paisas. He was a Chicano, they were all paisas. And I'm not gonna lie, the Chicanos I grew up around with, they called the paisas wetbacks. That's what they were known as. Um, if I wanted to go work with my dad, or I was going to go work with my grandfather and my uncle, I tell, like, say, for instance, I'd say, hey, tell my uncle, hey, I'm going to come work with you. Can I come work with you, make some money for the day? Yeah, but you're going to be over there with the wetbacks. You know what I mean? You're going to do what they do. Okay, that's fine. That's the way it was. Using that word was, it was just thrown out there like freely. The thing was that we used to say that, but if we heard anybody else say that, it was a problem. We had a problem with that. You can't say that. We can say that, but you can't say that. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with the black community back in the days. They could use the N word. They heard anybody else say it. It's like, no, you can't say that. I can say that to him because he's my people. But with us, it was more of a, we're better than you. You know what I mean? You guys are paisas. You guys are below us. We're Chicanos. You guys are. I mean, we're Mexicans at the time. Like, we're Mexicans, but we're from here. You guys are from across the border. You guys are below us, and that's how they were treated. Even by the Chicanos, they were treated that way. When you're locked up, when I was locked up, they were treated the same way in there, in the youth authority. You called them by that. We didn't call them paisas. You know what I mean? We would straight call them wetbacks. You know what I mean? That's where we used to use it. We didn't call them paisas. That's the shit started to change. I think in the 90s. In the early 90s, I think it started to change where they started calling paisas. You know what I mean? But when people started saying paisa a lot, it was pretty much saying the same thing. It was saying it like to kind of be like disrespectful to them. People might say, no, that's not true. Yeah, it was. It was true. It's true. We were saying it to be like, yeah, you're a fucking paisa. You see what I mean? It was just to be disrespectful to them. Now now it's just referring to somebody that's from Mexico. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, he's paisa. He's from Mexico. You know what I mean? But back in the day when we was saying that shit, it was to be disrespectful. And then eventually it just turned into just like paisa. Nobody says nothing. It's not a big deal. Even the blacks say it. You hear them on YouTube saying it. Whites will say it on YouTube. A lot of the prison channels, when they talk about prison shit, they're like, oh yeah, the paisas this, or let's say paisas, but the paisas this, paisas that, But even in prison, I mean, I've never been to prison, but I know how it goes. I know what's going on. I know so many fucking people that have been in and out of prison. In prison, Chicanos are with Chicanos. Paisas are with the paisas. They don't hang out. They're not the same. They're not the same. There's a divide between the two. Just like there is out here on the street. There's a divide between the two. So that's what I'm talking about. How are we going to fix this problem with the black community and the Mexican or the Latino community when we can't even fix our problem with ourselves? Because the problem is not as big as it used to be, but there's still an issue there. There's still a divide between the two, and I'll prove that right now. Anytime you see these things going on with the street vendors, them getting smacked around and getting their carts turned over and robbed and spit on and all the shit that happens to them, and they don't stick up for themselves, they'll pull up their phones and start filming it, but they'll let that black woman or that black dude smack the shit out of them. knock over their fucking horchata, spit on their fucking food, because they don't want no problems, because they don't want to get deported, because they're afraid of the police, whatever the fuck their reasons they'll use, whatever their reasons they have. When that shit happens, the next day, when there's a big fucking rally there, who's there? Be honest, like who's there? The Chicanos are there. Not the Paisas. There would be some Paisas there. But I'd say like 90% of the motherfuckers that are there are Chicanos. Sticking up for the Paisas. If anything happens with the Chicano community, who's there? The Chicanos are. The Paisas don't show up. They have no interest in what's going on with our communities. When something happens with them, we help them. Something happens with us, we don't want no problems. We don't want to get deported. We don't want any issues. They don't come to our aid. We always have to go and protect them and fight for them, which we should. That's the right thing to do. I mean, they are our people. But why don't they do that for us? Go to the East LA Parade every year that they have out there for Christmas, or the one in Pacoima. Chicanos and Paisas, Chicanos and Paisas. You know, they're all together during this parade, these parades. Go to a fucking Chicano event, biker events, motorcycle events, car shows, whatever. A community event. The Paisas don't show up. They don't support the shit that we do. They have no support for what we do. And it's the fucking truth. It's not a lie. It's the truth. They have no interest in supporting what we do. But like I said, every time something happens with them, we're the ones that got to step up and protect them. Why? Because it's the right thing to do, of course. But why the fuck aren't you sticking up for yourselves? And after a while, I see these fucking black community, in the black community, that's getting smacked upside the head, and there's men there. There's men there. And they don't do nothing but hold their fucking phones up. Let their wives and their fucking daughters get tossed around and spit on the food and knocked over, and they stand there and they'll get slapped upside their head too, because they're afraid of getting in trouble, or they're afraid of these black guys. They don't stick up for themselves. When's the last time you saw a fucking video of one of these street vendors actually sticking up for themselves, saying fuck it, man, and just taking off on these dudes? I only see it one time in one video. He got his ass handed to him though. You know what I mean? Black dudes were fucking them up. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter. He still stood up for himself. You know what I mean? But no, other times they just stand back and just hold their phone and let their shit get spit on and knocked over. Then the next day we got to come over there and deal with it. The right thing to do. But why don't they do for us? Why don't they support the things that we do? Why don't they support our functions? Why don't they support our events? We support everything with them. You know, when there's things going on over in Olera Street in LA, you know, things, festivals or whatever, we're there. They're there. We support it because we all feel like we're the same culture. We're just born here, you're born there, but you know, we have the same ancestry. We're the same people. We just call ourselves something different, you know. But we're there. We show our face there. But whenever there's something going on with us, you know, it's like, nah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we have to fix our problems with our people. We have our own issues we have to fix before we over trying to buddy up with the black community. Black community has the same issue. You got these blacks against these blacks. You got the fucking like Chris Rock said. There's the blacks, and then there's these ones over here, and these motherfuckers over here gotta go. That's what he said. You know, because the black community, when if you're educated, you live in a nice neighborhood, you don't speak in fucking jive, ebonics, or urban, whatever you want to call it. People are gonna take offense to that shit because that's how people are now. You can't say fuck. I guarantee you, there's somebody that what do you mean talking jive? Like, what the fuck is it? Urban, ebonics, you know, whatever, whatever you want to call it. If you don't talk that way, if you ain't sagging your pants halfway up your ass, then you're a sellout to these ones. Your kids go to a good school, they go to college. You went to a good school, you went to college, you became a lawyer, a doctor, whatever the fuck you did. Your wife did the same thing, and you live in a nice neighborhood. You got money. These ones over here say, you're a fucking sellout, or you're Uncle Tom, and blah 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 blah. They have their own fucking problems. You guys think you're better than us, and these guys like, fuck you guys. You guys, you guys not like us. Then you got the African community, who a lot of them don't even like the Black American community. I knew a lot of guys, being a truck driver that were working warehouses and shit like that. They were from like Nigeria, and they used to always shit on the black Americans. They couldn't stand them. And I should be like, why you don't like your own people? Like, they ain't our people. They're this, that. We're Africans. They're Black Americans. We're not the same. It's like, yeah, well, it's the same thing with how we are. Yeah, we were just born somewhere different, but we're the same. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing. Yeah, you're not born in Africa, so you can't say you're an African American. But you have the same fucking blood that these guys have, mixed with a bunch of other shit too. Some of them, but yeah, it's the same thing. They have their issues that they have to fucking work out, especially with the Black Americans, with these ones and the more urban ones. They have their own issues. We have our own issues. So if you have issues, if your yard's fucked up, my yard's fucked up, why am I over here trying to help you? I can't come together with you right now. I got to worry about my shit over here. I got to fix my problem with my people, because there is an issue there. It's not as big as it used to be, but there is still an issue there. So I don't think that, and like I said, there's still too much animosity. You know what I mean? You see all the shit that's going on with these street vendors and stuff like that, and I fucking can't stand it. Yeah, I see it like, damn, what's up with these young motherfuckers? Why aren't you guys out there doing it? Because back when I was younger, that shit did not happen in the 90s. There were street vendors in the 90s. There were street vendors in the 80s. They used to come down my street and my grandma's street in Inglewood. The Paleta man was out there. You know what I mean? There's always been street vendors. They're not as big as it is now, but they were there. If you got caught fucking with one of those dudes, man, whether it was our people or black, you're going to get hurt. Nobody fucked with those people because the gang members would fuck you up. So we have to fix our own issues. You know what I mean? There's just so much racial shit between the two. They think they're better, we think we're better, and I don't think that'll ever go away. In our reality, what do they need us for? What do we need them for? We don't need them for votes. We're the majority now. What's the reason that, all this, we need to come together for what? What is it we're coming together for? That's what I want to know. What do you feel that these two communities need to come together? I don't feel that there's any need for it. You are you, we're us. We do our thing, you do your thing. You vote the way you want to vote, we vote the way we want to vote. You live the way you want to live, we live the way we want to live. What are we coming together for? Who are we fighting against? You know what I mean? That goes back to another video where I said, if you're looking to fight against a white man, I, I ain't trying to be able to do all that bullshit. Ain't no white person ever held me down in my life. If you still living in that mentality, well then, you could go somewhere else with that bullshit. Because I don't live that way. I don't feel like I need to fight against the white man and all that shit. This is not the fucking 50s and 60s. I don't see it that way. Um, I just think there's just too much bad blood between the two communities that shit will never happen. And I think that these younger generations, the ones that are the our people that are dressing more urban and with dressing like with their pants hanging out their ass and all that shit and their stupid haircuts and all that other crap, the shit that they're doing. I think little by little they're starting to notice what's going on with the younger black generation, how they do all the shit that they're doing to the people in our community. And I think they're starting to see it. Like, hey, wait a minute, man. We're hanging with you guys. We're dressing like you guys. We're trying to rap like you guys. We're trying to talk like you guys. And you're over here fucking with our people. Your people are fucking with our people. I think they're starting to notice that shit. And I think that one day in the future, and not too far from now, it's gonna go back to what happened in the 90s. These kids are gonna be, hey man, fuck that shit, man. We're tired of that. We're tired of you fucking with our aunts and our uncles and our grandparents. We're not all of you, but your people. We're tired of you not doing nothing about it. If our people went into the black community to black-owned businesses, started fucking smacking them around, robbing them, or you see, like, you go to like South Central area, you'll see black dudes out there selling, bootleg shirts, bootleg Dodger shirts, bootleg Laker jerseys, shit like that. You know what I mean? They have their little setups out there, little street vendor shit. What if our people went over there and started fucking smacking them around? Pulling out guns on them and taking their fucking jerseys and spitting on their fucking product and all that stuff like that. What would happen? That'd be a fucking uprising, man. It would be a fucking uprising. It would be so much worse on the news, rallies. It would be so much worse if we did that to them. We don't do that kind of shit though. You know what I mean? It would be so fucking bad. That's when shit would really get bad. That's when you're gonna really see shit go bad. If we were to do that, if our youth were to do that kind of stuff that the black community is doing, the black youth are doing to our people. But that's just not. We just don't do that shit. But I do start to notice now that our kids, our kids, the younger generation, you'll see that shit on YouTube and Instagram and shit where they're doing that stupid shit too. But they're doing it to our people. They're not doing it to the black community. They're not doing it to the white community. They're doing it to our people too. I seen one guy get his ass kicked for that shit. Right there for fucking doing that shit to one of the vendors. One of our people doing that shit to him. They whooped his fucking ass. But they're starting to, some of them are starting to, do what they're doing. Like, oh, they're buddy with them. So, hey, they're being stupid ass fucking kids and they're out there doing the same shit to our people. Go do that over there. See what happens. That's a fucking problem. Even, our youth that are doing that shit. Why aren't you doing that to them? Why don't you go to South Central? Go over to Crenshaw and all that shit where you see the black dudes out there selling their fucking bootleg shit. Go over there. Take a couple of your little Edgar haircut buddies over there with your fucked up, ripped up jeans. Go over there and go smack that dude. Go steal one of his jerseys. Go spit on his shit and see what happens. No, you ain't gonna do that because you're afraid of him. But you will go to one of our people because you know that they don't want no problems, that they're afraid to get in any kind of trouble. So you go over there and do the same thing that they're fucking doing to our people. It's a small percentage, not a big percentage, but they do it. But that's the same thing that I can say to the fucking black kids too that are doing that shit to our people. Why the fuck you ain't doing that to your own people? Why ain't you over there fucking Slauson doing that shit? When Nipsey had his store over there, called Crenshaw, whatever it was called, why didn't you guys go in there and fucking do that shit to his store? Why didn't our people go over and do that shit to his store? Because they're not fucking afraid. Then they'll lay your ass down. So again, there's still that the divide. There's still that big divide between our people and the black community. I grew up with that in that divide also. I grew up with that racism. Am I trying to look at things differently now? Yeah. But then when I see all this shit that goes on, it just stops me from thinking, I know the way that I feel toward certain people is not right. But when I see what they do to our people and how they try to intimidate them, that's when it just goes right back to like, I just, I can't get on board with that shit. And that's me being fucking honest. See, that's the fucking problem. People don't want to be honest, but I'll be honest. I can't see that. I cannot see that. I cannot get on board with that. I just don't see it because of the disrespect. I cannot see it, man. I just, and it's not just me. I'm not. It's not just me. I know a lot of motherfuckers, man. And I would say almost all the motherfucking dudes that I know feel the same way that I feel. It is what it is, man. I just cannot get on board with it, But then again, I grew up in a time where in the 80s, where there was, well, when I grew up in the harbor, right there in the neighborhood, I grew up in the South Bay area. There wasn't too many blacks. There wasn't too many blacks there. We had a small pocket of blacks, But I mean, I remember Waukesha was one person, some black girl that lived there. Her name was Waukesha. She was my cousin's friend. There was Tyrone. He lived across the street from my grandmother's house on 170th. There was Kenny McGee or McGee, something like that. He was a kid who went to school with me. Black kid, cool. Lived down the street from me. There was a few more. I mean, I can go grab my yearbook from junior high school, and there wasn't that many fucking blacks in the South Bay area. So there wasn't really that tension too much because there wasn't really that many of them. And the ones that were there, they grew up the way we grew up. You know what I mean? Some of them became from Mexican neighborhoods. But then when I got into the street shit, that's when I started to see even when I was younger though, that N word got thrown around a lot, and I ain't talking about the one with the A at the end. I grew up hearing that, I grew up hearing that a lot, the N word with the ER, it's just the way it was. So then it was something that was programmed into me, you know what I mean? And I just grew up like that way. Then I get into the streets and we have issues with the Crips and the Bloods. So, okay, so now we have gang issue, but they're black. So, we use that word for them. You know what I mean? We thought, fuck them, we're better than them. But then again, they were calling us all kinds of shit too. It wasn't just us. They were calling us beaners and wetbacks and, whatever else they wanted to call us. They called us derogatory names too. They weren't innocent in the whole situation. You know what I mean? In school, we had issues when I was in high school and shit like that. It was always like fucking you, fucking wetback, and then fuck you, and we call them what we call them, and it was on. We handled our business, So they weren't innocent in all that. They were just as racial as we were, And then something happened in the '90s, in the early '90s, where when we had to stop fighting amongst ourselves as far as the Chicanos went. And I remember when that shit happened, and my homeboy came back and told me, "Hey, check it out. This is what's going on. This is what we were told. Blah blah blah. It's we have to go after the blacks now, the Crips and the Bloods. You know what I mean? Get them out of our neighborhoods and blah blah blah." And I remember, I won't bullshit. When we're talking about this shit, I said, "No, no, fuck that." I said, "We go after all of them, not just the males, the Crips and the Bloods, if they're here. No, all of them. Any black family that was here. This is 1993. Any black family, we want to get rid of all of them. I told my homeboys, we'll do it this way. We'll get rid of as many out of our neighborhood as we possibly can. Because if we don't, more and more blacks will come. Because we were close to Compton and all that. So uh, at that time, more and more blacks were moving into our neighborhoods. And there was a lot of dudes from other neighborhoods right there. Felt the same way. Like, nah, fuck that. We're going to go after everybody. So that shit was going on. That shit happened a lot over, like in Northeast LA too. Um, where they were just saying fuck it, not just Crips, Bloods, or males. No, anyone but anybody. So yeah, that happened, and I was like, no, we go after everybody, fuck it. And then some of my homeboys were like, nah, these people didn't do shit. So I was like, hey, you do whatever you want. This is what the ones that the collective that we had that were like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. So we started going after anybody except old people. You know what I mean? But anybody else, we would try to terrorize and get them out of the neighborhood. Whether we were just go by the house and spray paint on their house or shit, or throw bottles at their house, whatever the fuck we had to do to try to get them to move out of the neighborhood. You know what I mean? So that was going on in the early '90s. You know what I mean? Um, but as I got older, I started to started looking at things a little bit differently. It's not everybody. You know what I mean? I started to say like it's not everybody. You know what I mean? It's just like it's not everybody with us. Just like it's not every biker's a bad biker. Every cop is not a bad cop. It's not every black person is a fucked up person. You know what I mean? It's like you got good and bad in everything. And so I started to, because I really didn't associate with blacks either for a long time. I really didn't want to have black friends, none of that shit. But as I got into the workforce and all that stuff, I started getting to know people. Then, I started, loosening up the way that I felt, and I started be okay. This dude's cool. You know what I mean? He ain't got nothing against me, so why should I have anything against him? You know what I mean? So, uh, I started to be more open and into having relationships with black guys, black dudes. Really didn't have no issue with black girls. It was I guess maybe it was a man thing, because my issue with black men, not women. Uh, but I started to be more open to having friendships, with blacks, and so that's where I started to get conflicted. Like, you're cool, but fuck your people. And I said, well, I can't be that way. You know what I mean? As far as like, I can't blame everybody. But like I said, so I got dudes that I know that are like, I got a real good friend. Like, he's a real good friend. Like, I just talked to him not too long ago. Real good fucking guy. Um, Actually, two of them, two guys that are really, really cool with me that I really like a lot, man. They're just really good dudes. Um, but it's when I see the shit that goes on, it starts to bring me back. And like I tell myself, like it's not everybody, it's not everybody, it's not everybody. But then it angers me, like why the fuck you guys don't do nothing about it? The fuck you guys don't do nothing about this shit? Why don't you handle your people when they fuck up like that? Because you know what? When the whites fuck up, you expect them, you hold them all accountable, and you want them to do something about it. When your people are fucking up, you guys don't want to. It's not my business. I wasn't. Ain't my family. He ain't my friend. It's like nobody wants to, in the black community wants to be held accountable. You know, that's his business. I didn't fucking have nothing to do with that shit. But let a white person fuck up, and you guys are like the whole white community has to come together and what do you call it? And cancel that person and shit. You know what I mean? So that's where there's still that issue that we have. But again, how are we gonna fix the issue with this community when our people have their own issues that we need to fucking resolve, that we need to fix, that we need to come together, to really our communities to really come together because they have not really came together. There's still the separation between our two communities as far as the Chicanos go and as far as the Mexicanos go. There's still the fucking divide between us. It's like two magnets. They just refuse to fucking come together. But when something goes wrong with them, we help them. If something goes wrong with us, they're nowhere to be found. I don't want no problems. I don't want no problems. It's not my thing. That's your thing. You know what I mean? I feel that I can't help you if I can't get this shit together. And the thing is, this will never come together either. I don't think this will ever come together the way it should. I don't think our two uh, um, communities, the Chicanos and the Mexicanos, I don't think that will ever happen. Where we really, really do come together and quit fucking quit with that. I'm from over here. I'm from Mexico. You're not Mexican. All that other shit. You know what I mean? We're all the same. We all have the same fucking bloodline. It's just imagine an imaginary line was drawn right there, like there is one in Bakersfield between the north and south. You know what I mean? It's imaginary. There's nothing really there, but it's the same thing with our people. We have to fix that problem that we have with one another and come together. If there's somebody that does something wrong to us, you help us. Something happens with you, we've always been there to help you. Always. That hasn't changed. You know what I mean? So we can't worry about what's going on over here. I don't think that'll ever happen. I honestly don't think it will. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm for it. I'm more for this over here. I'm more concerned with what's going on with my people. I'm more concerned with what's going on in my yard. I mind my own shit. Just like I do in my own home. This is my home, this is my business. I mind what's going on over here. I don't care what's going on over here. You guys fix that. You guys fix your own problems. I can't help you with that. I don't know your struggle. I know mine. I don't want to know your struggle. And you don't need to know mine. I have to fix what's over here. So like I said, the whole thing was, do I think that shit will ever happen? Never. That'll never happen. Just like I think these our communities, the Chicanos and Mexicanos will never fully come together, fully, and to become integrated as one, like we should. That'll never happen. There's always going to be that divide. Like, no, you're from here, I'm from over there. That's it. We're different. And hey, whatever. If that's the way it is, that's the way it is. But I don't think that the black and brown community, that'll never happen. And I think that it's little by little, it's starting to pick up where the youth are starting to see like, okay, wait a minute, man. We're down with you guys, but your people keep fucking with our people, and eventually they're gonna get tired of it. They're gonna get tired of it, and then boom, they're gonna fucking clash like it did in the '90s. They're gonna clash with one another. And there's other things that are going on right now that I'm not gonna talk about. That I don't want to be part of that shit. Where that if you're from the streets, you grew up in the street, you know what I'm talking about. There's something going on right now where these two fucking these two um these two sides have come together, and the blacks are um they're just, if that shit gets stronger, you're gonna see what I'm talking about, where it's gonna be a collision, and I think it'll be worse than the '90s. It's gonna be way worse than the '90s because you got two major sides now that are coming together, and they're gonna eventually go against them. That's the way I see it. When I'm watching this shit, what's going on, I see it as that's the reason why they're gonna go against them. They're gonna go against them, and that's just gonna affect. Sorry about my GoPro died because it got hot. But anyways, like I was saying, if if what I see what's going on right now with certain situation, I think it's going to change things as far as I think it's going to be worse than the early '90s when things were bad out there on the streets. I think it's going to change things um, with the black and brown community out here on the streets. But that's my opinion. I listen, I watch what's going on, and I can kind of see the path that's being laid out right now. That could cause a lot of issues. Not with me, not with people my age, but the younger generation. But then again, it is what it is. Um, but like I was saying before, I don't see this black and brown community coming together like that. I don't see that. I'm not going to sit here and act like that's something that I'm on agreements with. I agree with that. Um, it's like, to me, for what? For what do we need to get together for? What is it we're getting together for? Are we getting together to go against the whites? Um, because if that's what it is, that's pretty fucking stupid. Because pretty much you're wanting to fight racism with racism. You know, hey, let's get together and we can go against the white people. Okay, so you want to fight racism with racism. You know what I mean? You don't want to be um, racially profiled. We don't want to be racially profiled. So why the fuck would you do that to other people? You know what I mean? I just don't see it. I just don't see the reason to get together. I don't see no reason to fight racism with racism. Um, we don't need any other community really. We are the majority, and we're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Uh, um, when you see like votes coming up and stuff like that for elections and stuff, they're mainly focused on the Latinos. They don't focus on anything else. You don't hear that. You don't hear like, oh, we need the black vote. No, they're like, we need these fucking guys because they're the majority. We need them. So uh, it's not like we need the black community for the votes and all that stuff. We got the fucking votes. If we if our people would get their shit together and start voting correctly, um, stop voting to get free shit because ain't nothing fucking free. You know, that's what a lot of people do. They vote because they want free shit. They want money, free money. Stop voting for that. Vote for what's right for the country. But that's again, that's a whole different a video. You know what I mean, as far as political views and all that shit. But again, like I said, this video was mainly about like I said, I watch videos and I see all these videos about you know black and brown unity. We come together and all that shit like that. And again, I always see it I mainly see it from the guys from Northern California because they grew up more with that urban type thing. You know what I mean? That getting along, they got along more. You know, they I don't know, they ran together. You know, they talk the same. Well, guys from Northern California, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them talk like that. If you close your eyes and listen to them, you would think that you're talking to a black dude. Mainly like Oakland, Sacramento. Not so much the guys from San Francisco or coming down, you know, into Madera, Modesto, Stockton, Fresno, Delano. They were more because I was up there, so I know. You know, I was in Fresno, so I know. You know what I mean? That, and when I was in Fresno, you would hear it sometimes, but mainly they talk like guys from down here. You know what I mean? So they have the same kind of style that we had down here. Um, but the guys from way up there, you know, they live more urban and they talk like I said in the Ebonics and all that shit, and kind of dress the same. Like, yeah, we had baggy clothes, our khakis were creased and shit, but they had more like urban type baggy clothes. You know what I mean? Where they were wearing more sports shit. Some guys up there were wearing fucking do rags. You would never see that shit down here. I never saw that shit when I was in Fresno. I ain't never seen a Chicano wearing a fucking do rag, but you would see shit like that in or like Oakland or Sacramento area. That means them guys over there did that kind of shit. You know, a do rag with a fucking fitted baseball hat on. And I don't know why they would call them fitted because most of the time them dudes over there were wearing hats that were way too big. Like I always say, if your ears can fit inside your fucking hat, your hat is too big for you. But you know, they put that shit on to cover their fucking ears. So they were more with the urban style. Um, so it's a little bit different for you know for those guys up there. Uh, they they were they hung out with each other. You know what I mean? Down here we really didn't do that. We kept to our own. But down here we had issues with the Bloods and the Crips. A lot of us had issues with the Bloods and the Crips. So there's always a racial thing going on down here. Um, but so yeah, so I like I said, I'm not saying that I agree with what them guys want to do. I don't agree with that because I know it will never happen. So why should I agree? Like, yeah, that we should do. It's not gonna happen. I don't agree with that anyway. I'm worried about our people and helping our people. You worry about your people and helping your people. If we can fix our problems and you can fix your problems, then maybe then. But that shit will never happen in my lifetime. Never. Not here in Southern California. I know that for a fact. And it's kind of changing right now in Northern California. I'm watching it. Like I said, you gotta be from the street to understand what I'm saying. But I'm watching it, and I'm saying that you know that it's changing. Quiet. It's changing, and I know that because I watch these channels, and I see that they see it. They're wondering why. What the fuck? What happened? Things are changing, and it is what it is. But anyways, that's my video. Um, I'll be honest with what I gotta say. I'm not gonna hide and be like some of these other guys are bullshit and not tell you what they really feel. And you know they'll get on there and say, yeah, we need to do this, and deep down inside they really don't want that. It's just it's nice to say, or they'll say it because they want to get more views on the Instagram or I mean on YouTube. Um, yeah, we agree with that, and we want this. They know it's not going to happen. Maybe that's why they say it because they know it's not going to fucking happen. It'll never happen, and they know that. But it's like again, it's nice to say because you're going to get yourself more black followers if you say that. If you say, yeah, man, I'm down with you guys, man. I want us to come together. We should do this. You're going to get more black followers. You know what I mean? It's about how many followers you can get. I do want the followers, but I want followers because I'm being honest. I'm not fucking here lying to you and saying, yeah, oh yeah, we need. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And I'm gonna be straight up honest with you, the way that I feel. I don't believe that. I don't push for that. I I ain't got nothing against the black community in whole. I got issue with the motherfuckers that are doing shit to my people. You know what I mean? I feel that you motherfuckers need to be dealt with. Whether it's on the street or it's inside. If you go inside, well then you should be fucking dealt with. You know what I mean? Keep fucking around. Like they say, fuck around, you're gonna find out. Quit fucking around with our people. Quit fucking with the street vendors. Because that shit eventually, you're gonna eventually get laid out one day. One day, and the thing is, like, if them guys decided one day to fucking stick up for themselves and they do something and they hurt one of your fucking people, you're gonna be crying about it. You're gonna cry about it and say he didn't deserve that. He was a good kid. He was a good person. He made a mistake. No, no, no. It's not a fucking mistake. And when these guys decides, hey, you know what? You're not gonna put your hands on my wife. You're not gonna put your hands on my daughter. You're not gonna fuck with my business. And they take the life of somebody because of it. You're gonna be in a fucking uproar, and you're gonna sit there and say how good of a person that fucking person was. Why does it have to come to that? Why don't you tell your people to quit fucking with our people? And again, it's not the whole. It's the ones that are doing it. It's them that I have the issue with. It's them that I don't give a fuck about. It's because of them that I feel like we cannot fucking do this because you won't check your own fucking people. And after a while, you just get sick and fucking tired of it. And you see it, or I see it, and I say, fuck that guy. They should have killed that motherfucker. They should have laid his ass out right then and there. I don't give a fuck how petty it was. I don't give a fuck that he knocked over a food stand. I don't give a fuck that he spit on their food. I don't give a fuck. They should have laid his ass down right there and buried his ass right there for what he did. I don't give a fuck how old he is. That's how I feel. I'm sick and tired of those people that do those kind of things fucking with my people. I'm tired of it. And if death is the fucking answer for the people that are doing it, then that's the way it is. That's the way that I feel about it. Quit fucking with our people. Quit fucking with our people, and then you want to come together and go against the fucking white man. Fuck you. I can't align myself with that. I can't do it. So as you can see, that shit does bother me, man. That shit bothers me, and it takes me back, and I want to be, I want to be different, you know what I mean, as far as my mentality, but when I see it, it brings me back. But that doesn't take away the fact that I have my people that I know, my black friends that I know that are good people, that they don't agree with that shit either. You know what I mean? And I respect them. You know what I mean? Do I have issues with the N-word? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You know what I mean? Do I use it? Yes, I do. Should I? Nope. No, I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't. Like I said, because I have buddies that are black dudes. You know what I mean? And I don't want to disrespect them. You know what I mean? So that's something that I have to deal with. That's something that I have to fix it myself. You know what I mean? But like I said, it's hard. It's very hard when I see what's going on. When I see with the black community, not all the black community again, because you say the black community, the whole fucking black community. I'm talking about the people that are doing what they're doing. And if you're gonna sit here and say, well, it's the youth, well then, motherfucker, you as the adult should be doing something about it. Don't blame your fucking kids. Don't say it's the youth, because those youth are your fucking kids. The fuck, you didn't know how to raise them? Do something about it. If you don't want us fucking with your people, then stop fucking with ours. So that's why I say it's not going to ever come together, because that shit will not stop. Because the black community is so divided. The black community won't come together. In order for them to fix that problem, they have to come together and say, hey, you know what? So they're you like, hey, motherfucker, we're tired of your guys' shit. You guys are fucking up. You're making us all look bad. But they have so much issue. And that's what this whole video is about. Like, we have our issue with our people. You have your issue with your people. We have to fix ours. You have to fix yours. We cannot come together like this if we are all fucked up on both ends. So fix your problem. We fix our problem, and maybe one day that'll happen. But again, that will not happen in our lifetime. Not mine. And if you're my age, it ain't gonna happen in yours either. It won't happen. I don't think it'll ever happen. It's nice to say, but I don't think it'll ever happen. If you take offense to what I'm saying, it is what it is. I'm being honest about it. Other people, like I said, will fucking sugarcoat everything and say all this other bullshit. Why? A lot of times they just want your fucking views. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck about the views like that when it comes to that. Yeah, I want views, I want followers and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna lie to you to get it. I'm not gonna bullshit you to get it. I'll be straight up honest with you. You ask me a fucking question, and I'm gonna tell you the way that I feel. You know what I mean? I need to fix things within myself, and I'm working on that. I'm working on that because sometimes I do go back and blame everybody, one group, for what a couple people are doing. And that's wrong because I don't like when they do that to me as far as being a Chicano or being a biker, or I don't appreciate it when they do it to other people either. You know what I mean? You can't blame all white people for the shit that other white people have done. You can't blame the whole for the small majority. You know what I mean? And I do the same thing. I'm doing the same thing, and I can't blame all. So that's why I keep saying it's not the whole black community. It's just some. But again, we have our fucking problems too. But I'll be the one to admit. I'll be the one that comes in and says that I have a fucking problem. I say this, I say that. Yeah, I do use that word sometimes. Yeah, I do feel this way about at certain times. I'm honest about it. I won't lie. So I'd rather you fucking follow me and watch my videos because I'm being honest about it and not lying to you about it. So anyway, with all that being said, I'm gonna end this video. I know it's kind of long. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to the videos. Leave your comments. Again, if you're gonna comment on my videos, don't be disrespectful, because I'm not gonna sit there and go back and forth with you. I'm almost 50 years old. There's no way that I will sit here and go back and forth with you and talk shit on the internet. It's not gonna happen. If you're gonna do that kind of shit, leave the comment there and I'll delete that shit. But I'm not gonna sit there and let you be disrespectful. And I don't even want to get involved in that bullshit. You know what I mean? But if you want to have a fucking conversation with me, then say what you got to say respectfully, and I'll reply to you respectfully. But if you're going to fucking be disrespectful, I'm not going to reply to it. I'm going to take that shit off there. I'll block you from even saying shit after that. You know what I mean? Because this is not some junior high school fucking debate. It's not going to happen. So be respectful, and I'll be respectful to you. So with that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll hopefully be doing another video for you guys tomorrow.